I guess. I mean, you don't really need it today necessarily. We're not doing like deep stuff, and I'll have this up the whole time.
No, I need notes.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, it depends if you guys know how to do the homework yet or not.
I think I can. I just need to actually get the homework.
That is a weird shaped cake.
I mean, I think I've already played it.
Alright, I'm gonna wait for some of your classmates to get back with their stuff. And for your classmates that are out today, in case they go watch the movie or the video, there's the homework.
Yeah, I'm gonna work the homework. I'm just not sure if I ever started my homework. Why are you here?
And then the next homework that's going to be assigned is up there kind of hanging off on Monday, 924. I know a lot of you guys have worked ahead, which is awesome. I would encourage you to keep doing that. Why are you trying to pull the algebra tiles out? Did I say get them out? We've already used them. You know what they are. In the drawer right here. Octavio put his project over top of the stack there. So right here, Mallory, in this top drawer. Oh yeah. I think you're the only one, Peyton. All right, Peyton, come up here. Or here, you can go in here, I guess. Here's your book. Put it on your desk. Everyone had to do this, so now you have to do it too. Left hand on your book. Right hand in the air. And I'll do it with you. All right, Peyton, you want to read it together?
Can I do it?
Yeah.
I don't have
My textbook is my responsibility. The home for my book is in my locker. If my book is lost, it is my problem. I will owe $77 if my book is lost or damaged. I am a responsible 7th grader. I can handle this. So, your book needs to live outside of the classroom now, and that file folder is so you can clean out your math section. This is what we missed earlier. And we are in this drawer. So we went alphabetically. Who thinks they're funny and they put no name? No, I guess the back of it says OP. You just kind of put it in there backwards. So really, wherever you want to put that, you can just clean out your math folder and then drop it in there. So you have more space in your binder.
Mr. Hudson? Well, I'm in the back and I'm number 1, so I guess I do say first is the worst.
Huh? So, Laverne's going to make a birthday cake in this somewhat awkward shape. I gotta find our page here. So, she's also going to make it real complex. She decides that the bottom layer of this cake, or whatever you want to call it, since that is crust, is going to have a 1 centimeter thick cookie crust. The next layer will be 7 centimeters of chocolate mousse and 1.5 centimeters to top it all off of whipped cream. So, now centimeters are not that thick. Now, with your group, and this is going to be kind of one of those things where, especially because we're light with students today, I'd like to just give you time to kind of work independently. Your task, when this is all said and done, is to determine what is the area that this cake takes up, what is the volume of the total cake, and more importantly, what is the volume of the cookie section, because she needs to make sure she buys enough cookies, right? She's going to buy store-bought cookies, crumble them down, or put them in the blender. That's a good idea too. Because you can't really buy like a cookie crust to fit in your pan. You have to like grind up cookies and put it in yourself. Yeah, with melted butter, right, to hold it together. So, yeah, dive in. You and your team. I believe we should only need 3 to 4 minutes, is my guess. Quinn, can you at least sit the other way so you can see the screen if you don't have a textbook in front of you? Really, that group is turned wrong. Like it needs to be turned 90 degrees. I don't know how it got that way. We're making cake and coffee. We gotta sound like a lounge or cafe. I like any like smooth jazz, relaxing work music. How do we figure out volume?
Very carefully. You count. Wait, length times width times height.
The easiest way to figure out volume is length times width times height, but that only works with rectangular prisms. Right, when the bottom area can be found with length times width. So here, it's not actually quite that easy, right? Because it's an irregular shape at the bottom. So I can't just do length times width times height like this, what, 9.5 for everything. If I add all these up, I can't just do that because this section over here is missing. And this height would be, coming up out. So, Octavio, what'd you do to fix that issue here?
There's nothing, the top view just says like top view, nothing is on it. So
Okay.
I'm gonna do 22 times 12.
22 times. All right, for which? So you're doing the top left or the top right?
Right.
You're doing this section,
Yeah.
and you're gonna do what then once you find that?
So I figured out it was 200 centimeters. So I would assume
200 like straight up.
like
It should be two something.
Like that area.
264.
And so I just assumed that they would be the same on that one.
Ah, so over here, because this is 12 and that's 24, what's this edge? Also 12. So you're absolutely right, Octavio. What about this bottom section?
Oh, actually what I did was just 264 times 3, which got me 792.
So Connor, you are right, but this 36 doesn't matter because Octavio split the shape up. He said, yeah, that's 36, but this right here is just 22. So he looked at just, I know, there's multiple ways, so hang on. So then what would this section right here be? 14. That little section would be 14. So 14 times 24, what would be the area of this? 336? So if we're just trying to figure out area, we can add those together, and what do you get? 600. Now, there are multiple ways. So, Mallory, what's the way you took?
So I found the area of the whole thing and then subtracted the little square that was like eaten.
If you just make this a rectangle and find the area of the whole thing, you can take away what you don't want. Right? So the corner that Octavio found, that's why I was asking, what are you going to do with that? You could just subtract it. So then we get the area. 600. How do I figure out, Quinn? Well, actually, I don't know how to figure out Quinn. How do I figure out the volume of cookie?
You'll never figure me out.
I won't
Also,
ever figure you out.
so the cookie crust, you just multiply everything by 1. So if you had, well,
So what does that do?
but it's saying to, what is the volume of the cookie crust, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just multiply.
I knew that was a risk. You guys able to pick the stuff up? You can't separate your groups. It's like you're allergic to each other, but that will cause gravity to defeat you. Sorry, Quinn, continue. Or come up if you want. Take the mighty sword. We need to talk about the coffee cans too.
So, because you have this here, so the thing is, it's length and width. Right, so this is your length, and that's, well, no, that's your width, and that's your length. And you've already multiplied those together, getting you this.
Well, when we took away the corner, yeah. Yep.
And then you have height you need to add in, which is only 1 for the cookie crust.
So, what do we figure out the volume is?
The volume is this times 1, because that's the volume of the cookie crust. Unless you're figuring out the volume of the entire thing.
So, what's the volume of cookie?
The volume of cookie is 600
centimeters
cubed.
There we go.
And then if you
So,
on the entire thing, you would do 9.
hang on. Going too far. I like it, but you're going too far. Go ahead and sit down. So, this was centimeters squared, and somebody should have called me on leaving a number without a label. We don't leave numbers without a label. Then if we're talking about just the cookie crust, that's volume. It's still 600, but that's not the same number because it's centimeters cubed. Now, cubic centimeters is the same thing as when you hear like on medical shows or whatever, somebody saying like, we need like 70 cc step, like cc means cubic centimeters. I believe, I forget what it can, I think it's also like 1 ounce or something. It's one of something else. A cubic centimeter is also one of something else. I forget exactly what it is. We'll look it up here in a second. So with the entire cake, as Quinn was trying to continue on and tell us, to figure out the volume of the whole thing, I'm going to shift. I know you know how to do this. Connor?
Well, there's 2 ways. You could just like add 1.5 plus 7 plus 1. Get 9 times it by 600.
Ooh, 9?
9.5.
9.5.
You got like 5,700 centimeters cubed.
Like exactly 5,700?
Yes.
So when I write it, or you could just do like 600 times 7, 600 times 1, 600 times 1.
Yeah, we could do each section alone if we wanted to, right? So the bottom section, 600 centimeters cubed. If I do this, what's 6 times 7?
6 times 7.
42. Put those zeros back on. And then 6 times 1.5. Well, that's just a 600 and a 300. So this section then is 900. Questions? This is really the main gist of what we're doing today. My smart board is broken today for some reason. It doesn't know that I just want this screen. So, the big thing is when you don't have regular shapes, and we're going to come back to this lesson next week when we have everyone here. When we don't have regular shapes, you got to figure out the area of the bottom, the base, before you can figure out the volume. And this gets dangerous because, as I've said with, at least as I think I've said before, Ender's Game. Who's seen Ender's Game? There's this sweet line in Ender's Game where he talks about, well, the problem with space is there is no up or down. Not really the problem, but like they're talking about directions. So if I ask you, what's the base shape of this object? And I lay it that way. What are you going to say?
The bottom or the base.
What shape is the base?
Circle.
Still a circle, right? Even though it's laying this way, that hasn't changed the fact that it's a cylinder and its base is a circle. So this shape down here, and we're going to come back to this next week, so we're not going to like solve all the way through this. The base is not a rectangle. The rectangle is the bottom right now, but bottom doesn't mean base. In geometry, what the word base means is, for a prism, is it's got the same thing on both ends, and it's connected by rectangles. Now some of you are looking at the cylinder right now probably like, wait, connected. Say it louder, Savannah.
If you put the thing connecting it, it will fold out into a rectangle.
Yeah.
Oh, we had those last year.
Connected by a rectangle. Right? So for prisms, it's got to be a shape clone to the other end, connected by rectangle. So for this object, this is our base. And you can break it up or solve it however you want. I want to review this lesson again next week. So aside from that, I was probably just planning on giving you guys time for homework. I mean, we're missing like a third of our group. We could go through and do a surface area problem, but I would like to also practice that next week because surface area and volume are how we wrap up this unit. So next week, plan on the chapter 9 closure sections, like the 9.2 sections, which is some like review of the entire book. And then at some point, we're going to need to take like we're done with CC2 mastery assessment. So for chapter 9, we may not have a straight up chapter 9 assessment. We may have like a CC2 final exam sort of thing. So a variety of problems from everything from CC2. Yeah. We covered some, well, and then we're going to cover some CC3 book stuff. So, volume gets much more complex as we get into weirder shapes. Yeah. Who had a sphere on their map test? Like a ball, like a sphere? Yeah. They were throwing you some hard problems.
So